Hello, everyone. This is Displace. Patch 11.2.7 brought early access to housing. And because it is early access and because it's new, there are some limitations to it. So in this video, I want to go over what those limitations are and if there are any ways around them. First, the housing system is pretty flexible and allows you to do pretty much anything, whether that's on the outside of the house or on the inside. The possibilities feel unlimited as long as you have the gold to buy what you need. And that's really the first limitation. Most of the decorations cost gold, while some of the old world items cost both gold and resources like crystals or garrison resources. Now, for most of us, gold isn't a problem, and these decorations are pretty cheap, most costing about 10 to 25 gold. However, I did spend 20,000 gold on things for one room, and that was just buying stuff from the vendors, so it can definitely add up pretty fast. And if you're after a specific decoration, like the goblin lights, those are only available for crafting. So unless you want to spend the time to go farm the wood and craft the item, you will have to buy them on the auction house. Now on my server, they were going for about 7,500 gold, but at the start, they were up to 25,000 gold. And I have seen some items up to 100,000 gold. So depending upon what you're looking for and how many of the item you need, these rooms can add up pretty fast. Now, before you go off and start blowing your gold like you're in Gallywix's casino, there are limits to your actual house. You will notice when you go to your housing dashboard that there is a housing level. And this level controls a lot of what you can do with your house, both on the inside and outside. So as you level up, you get additional decoration limits, the ability to add more rooms, as well as new room types. Now, right now, you are limited to level 5, and the only way to increase your housing level in early access is by obtaining uncommon and higher decor items. So any green, blue, or purple decor items will have a one-time house XP bonus to it. And if you just play the game without going hunting, you should be comfortably at around 3 to 3.5 on your housing level. And according to WowDB's housing database, there's currently 740 uncommon decor items in early access. And I believe each item gives you 10 XP, so that should give you enough to get up to level 5 if you actually take the time to hunt down all of these items. Now, once Midnight releases, you will get more levels, as well as access to endeavors that are weekly quests that give you housing XP. But until then, you will need to spend some time hunting down all of these items. Now, speaking of housing limits, let's talk about the outside of the house and making it your own. And here's where you face your first housing limit, the style and look of your house. Right now, there's only one house per faction. You get the traditional mud hut for Horde, or the cozy cottage for Alliance. The good news is that there are additional house styles coming. So on the beta, there was a Blood Elf house for the Horde and a Night Elf house for the Alliance. There was a blue post confirming that they will be available with the initial Midnight launch. Until then, you're not only limited to one distinct house per faction, but also the size of the house and what you can add to it. So if you don't like the outside of the house, there are creative ways to disguise it. A creative way for the Horde is if your plot is next to a cliff, you can put rocks around it and make it look kind of like an entrance to a cave. I've also seen tree houses on the Alliance side. Or if you're more ambitious, you can always anger your neighbors and create some weird robot monstrosity that I've seen floating around on Reddit. Now, speaking of the outside limits and how to disguise your house, there is an outside decor limit. And at level 3, that's 250. So depending upon what you're looking to do, you may run up against your limit pretty fast. And right now, it doesn't look like levels 4 or 5 increase the outside limit, which is probably because Blizzard is trying to make sure that the neighborhoods don't lag. But I do expect this limit to increase as the Midnight expansion progresses. Now on to the inside of your house. Here, there are 2 limits placed on you. The first is a room placement budget. So each room has a different cost associated with it, with bigger rooms costing more and taking up more of your budget. So at level 3, you have a room budget of 30. And that can increase to 43 at level 5. Now, you're not going to be able to create some sprawling castle or anything, but this does give you a decent sized house. It just means that you have to be intentional with the layout of your house. The good news is that the WowDB housing website has a floor plan builder. So you can go there, lay out your house, and see how you can expand it as your levels progress. Now, as you start designing your house, there are a few gotchas that you need to be aware of. First is the entryway. This is the starting point of your house, and it cannot change. Now, you can move your door to another room, or you can even delete your door if you want. But every time you zone into your house, you will spawn at the entryway. The second gotcha is the first room connected to the entryway. When you buy your house, it comes with a small square room. Now, when you first starting out, you can change this room to another type, or you can keep it and add additional rooms on from here. And here's where the gotcha is. Once you add to the starting room, you cannot change it. So in this example here, I have a small room and an empty stairwell room. I have decorations in these rooms and I want to keep them, but maybe I want to try and switch their locations around. I can't do it. Now, you can move rooms around to other locations, but for some reason, this initial room is pretty much locked once you add an additional room to it. If you've started to design your house and you want a different first room, you're going to need to delete all of your current rooms to replace this one. And once you delete a room, all of the work that you did to place all those decor items in the perfect spots goes out the window. I am hoping that they fix this, at least make it to where you can drag another room on top of your first room and it like moves the rooms around. But right now, there's no workaround for this. Now, I have seen some amazing house designs, both on the outside and inside. But depending upon where you want to place certain decorations, it can get difficult to get it in the right place. I think one of the biggest issues for designing the perfect house is that your character is stuck to the ground while you're in edit mode, right? This means that if you want to get to high up places, you have to build some kind of scaffolding to get up there. And scaffolding can get bulky and get in the way of your existing decor items, but there is an easier way. So if you take a platform piece and you put it about mid-height, you can jump on it, and then you just move it up a bit, jump, and you continue to do this until you get to the right height. This way, when you're done, you only have to remove one piece of floor instead of a few pieces of scaffolding. What I would really like to see is the ability to not have gravity while you're in edit mode, right? So when you get in edit mode, you can kind of float up, kind of like what you can do in Minecraft. But I don't think that that is going to be anything that they're going to add. I can see there being a lot of hacks if they add something like that. So for right now, the floor is probably the best way to get up to those high spots. Now, I think housing has a really strong foundation, but because this is early access, there are some very real limitations. I don't think any of these are deal breakers, but they do change how you approach building your house right now. The good news is that most of these systems are designed to expand over time. And as Midnight launches and housing levels increase, a lot of these limits should loosen up. But I'm curious, what's been the biggest limitation that you've run into so far? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I will see you in your neighborhood.